Hey everybody, Andy AK Montolio, and we are back for another Vintage League. And I decided to sleeve up Bug today. I've been down on Bug a little bit recently, most particularly because I took it into the first of the Eternal Weekend Vintage Benson. Really didn't feel that solid with it. But that said, it does seem at face value to be relatively well positioned, so I'm going to keep this hand. I did see this player the other day. I believe they were playing UR Murktide. Well, we've got a pretty good hand for this, depending on what they do. Hopefully, they don't get us with a hollow one or two. That's one of the ways that we can unwind here, but I feel like this is reasonable. They do have a hollow one. Okay, Oko's a card we can pitch. We just got to dodge them having a second Bazaar here. Let's see. I wonder what they're going to do here. Are they just going to bring back the Icarid? I think I'm going to gamble taking 7 damage here. Like if they want to bring it back, pitch the shell and get the amalgam back. Like maybe it's not worth it. Maybe that's not worth it. Maybe I'm just going to do this now. I'm going to do it now. Like if they have a second Bazaar, yes, this is bad for me, but I'm already so far behind if they have a second Bazaar, it's highly improbable that I'm going to be able to come back. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, fair enough. So they did do that line, so I'm glad I went when I did. So we are under a fair bit of pressure here, but Tarmogoyf could buy us some time here. If I can find a Mox here, this would be very ideal. Wasteland, wow. Well, that was a pretty good draw, wasn't it? I'm gonna go get a basic forest here. Now, this is not big enough currently to block the hollow one, but it should be, hopefully next turn. We can block the amalgam, which is good. So we're going to take 4 damage here, and hopefully our Ancestral Recall can get us into something here. Yeah. This current build I have has 3 Tarmogoyfs in it. Well, do I want to play around Force and Negation? I don't think I have the luxury of doing that. We are under a fair bit of pressure here. Let's get the Sylvan Library into play. Um, I don't think there's any reason to play the Mox out right now. So unfortunately, we're going to go down to 4 life here. Um, so we are going to need some help here, but I suspect our Sylvan Library is going to show us a second creature here. Or even something like an Assassin's Trophy to be able to attack our own, put something else in the graveyard here, like a Mox. Yeah, I mean, that's inconsequential. Let's take a look here. Yeah, okay, so there's another Tarmogoyf. Yeah, I think the Goif is just the best bet here. We'll be able to get hopefully a double block. Like if my opponent has a force of will here, there's nothing I can do about that. Um, Maybe I shouldn't have played that out. My fetch lands are actually turned off currently right now, so that Mox actually has more value than I care to admit, the Sapphire. They attack with both. I mean, I have to chump one, but that's okay because it will set me up for the next turn for Leovold to be able to, or for the Leovold and Tarmogoyf to be able to block the hollow one. So this is not ideal. So I don't really like my opponent's attack there. I think that they probably should have attacked with both because they would have been able to identify that I had to block the hollow one here. So this ends up being not too bad for me, and getting that artifact in the graveyard is going to make my guys significantly bigger. So that's decent for me, and it maintains that my fetch lands are still currently on. Now I have to watch for a creeping chill at some point here. We could just die to that card. We're looking for a Deathrite Shaman of some sort. Um, I don't really want to shrink my Tarmogoyf here, right? One, two. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't really want to go down to 3 life here, which is just really awkward. Creature land instant. Yeah, they have creature land instant. So hopefully this will resolve. They do have 5 cards. And if they force us, I mean, it's not the end all be all for me. They do have the force, so they're just that much farther away from actually manually discarding. So I don't think that's too bad for me. I'm not going to attack here. We do have Leovold on top in the least, but we are looking actively for Deathrite Shaman here. I do like Time Walk, however. I don't think I need to use Time Walk right now, though. Let's get Leovold in. Like, I will trade, I guess, with the Amalgam. I think that's fine. Like, we got to try and win somehow here. And if my opponent wants to trade with me, I think that's fine. And they probably will. I mean, it's a pretty good deal for them. Or we could go to 1 life. And we are dealing lethal with a Time Walk. So maybe we do go to 1 here. Maybe I go to 1. Yeah, I'm going to go to 1. This is a calculated gamble. Like if my opponent found Bazaar or something, I guess it's possible that they could. Well, they don't actually have dredgers. Leovold would shut them off. So this is somewhat contingent on this plan working by force of vigor. Okay. Yes, I would like to draw. Yes. Um, okay. Oh, what a draw. What a draw. Let's see if we can resolve a time walk here. Okay, that was a good win. Toxic Deluge is new back on my board. I really haven't played it in well over a year. I'm not quite sure how good it is. Sylvan Library is just a little bit too slow for what I'm looking to do here. I think Force of Negation is typically not at its best in this particular matchup. I do like Flusterstorm. I think it's one of the ways that we're able to protect our cage or needle, or a very critical Ravenous Trap, something of that nature. I do like Trophy. I typically think Oko is a little bit too slow. And Force of Nature, Force of Vigor is of course not at its best in this match, but I typically on the draw do like a Force of Vigor to be able to deal with a quick hollow one or two. Like sometimes it's just a game-changing play. Brazen Borrower is obviously not at the best here, but I think that's okay. So this has got a couple pieces of Graveyard Hate. Our hand is a little slow, but maybe it will be good enough to buy us some time, and hopefully our opponent will mulligan. They've kept a hand of 7, which is unfortunate. So we are unlikely to win based on that, but you never know. Like if they just don't have counters or, well, I was gonna say if they don't have counters or Force of Vigor or something like that. But a lot would have to go right for us to be able to win with this hand as it currently stands. Grief, yeah. I'll let them have their pick here. I mean, I could surgical in response perhaps if they put the grief in the yard, but that's just not a good way to do things. I don't really care about grief that much. The damage here is done. I'm finding Dredge to be quite obtuse right now. It's just very overbearing and powerful and extremely hard to beat. Like it's just such a resilient deck. So we're going to have to be fairly judicious with this surgical because it's all we have right now. Hopefully our opponent doesn't find any dredgers. I usually reserve surgical for Icarid, or in certain circumstances I'll do it for bridge from below. I've been off surgicals for quite a while, to be honest with you. Okay, so there's a hollow one. So pretty good start for them. I think we can take a peek and see what's going on here and do it in their upkeep. Like there's a possibility that maybe we can find the wasteland here. Force of will and force of vigor. Well, I don't know if Needle's going to be enough here. Um, I think given I know what they have in their hand here, I'm just going to take their Icarids here. I think Icarid is definitely a problematic card. I normally would do this in their upkeep. Let's take a peek and see what we're dealing with. So So they just have the strip mine, eh? Oh, interesting. No bridge from below. Interesting. Okay. Well, they're going to have to discard 3. They probably are going to keep their force of vigor here instead of their force of will. We're under a fair bit of pressure here. They did find, yeah, they found, so they did not, they found a gas, which I'm not thrilled about. It's going to make my life very difficult, but okay, so I think what I'm going to do here, what did they discard? I'm going to shuffle this away. I'm going to get another green source. I'm going to time walk. Okay. So they are going to be able to get rid of my needle. Next turn, which I think is fine. Because we are going to wasteland them. Taking them off that line. Now, oh no, we are in a lot of trouble. We need a way to remove, we need something like an endurance here to be able to just remove their entire graveyard. Even then, I'm still dealing with a hollow one. Yeah, we're at 1 now. Okay. I sure would love to hit a Tabernacle Pendra Vale. We did not. We got a Leovold, which I guess is something. It's a chump blocker. Like a land kills me. Yep. Here comes an amalgam. So we didn't come together this game very well. I mean, we still have Tabernacles and out. We have a lot of ways to find it if our deck cooperates with us. And that was not cooperating. And there was the Endurance and the Tabernacle. We were just 1 away from being able to get there. Really 2, because we were going to die there. Okay. To be honest, I don't think Borrower's really high impact enough. I might just want an Oko here. Oko pitches to Endurance, it pitches to Force, and if I can get it early enough, it can be impactful in the board. Yep. This hand is a little bit suspect in ways, but let's see what they do. Did they keep another 7? That's unreal, man. What do we want to do? Let's take a peek at what they got. I can turn Needle on. They got a bizarre. Maybe just doing that is correct. They can grief me. I'm just trying to think. Do I want to? By getting Pithy Needle here, it's pretty strong because they have no answer, and that means that they can't get their. I'm going to get a green source here, and I'm going to ponder. Take a look and see what we can find. We still have the Force of Will up. That's why we're doing this. I don't want that. To be honest, I really need land here. Ha! Should have been more specific, I guess, huh? If they grief me here, it does take them off manual discard, which is something. Grief. How much do we care about grief here? I think it's fine. We'll see what they take, whether it's the trap or the treasure cruise. But the treasure cruise is significant here for me. It's one of the few ways that I have to replenish my hand. And yes, as I'm a little bit nervous of coming off a Force of Will here potentially, but it's going to be between the trap and the treasure cruise, I think, for my opponent. And if they did find Force of Vigor off the top, of course, it very much could warrant finding a Force of Will here too. I mean, we would lose reasonably quickly, I think, if they had the Force of Vigor here. So what did they pitch? Shambling Shell. Okay. They've griefed me. They're down to 6 cards. Okay. So this could very much telegraph that they have found a Force of Vigor here. The fact that they took my Force of Will. Okay. Like if they force here and Force of Vigor and we have Force backup, that's a really big game for us. I hate to get rid of the Treasure Cruise, but what they pitch? Noxious Revival. Yeah. So they are down to 3 cards, which is 2 Hollow Ones and a Stinkweed. So we've got some work to do here to be able to catch back up. Okay, they've just conceded, and I think that was a premature concession from my opponent. Yes, there's a higher chance I'm going to be able to draw out of it than they are, but so there's a land, there's a land, there's a brainstorm 1, 2. Okay, so we were going to be able to, we were going to be fine. We'll take that, guys. Remember, hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you for round 2.